Hello and welcome to the Coach Me Vancouver podcast. We're recording live from downtown Vancouver. My name is Nadine Stille, founder of Coach Me Vancouver. It's lovely to have you tune in. Today, we're talking with certified personal transformation coach Emilia D'Aversa about how to keep exceeding your own success. With Emilia, you can expect an authentic, energetic, and down-to-business coaching approach. She believes that just like you flex muscles in the gym to achieve the desired effect, your mindset is also something you must be working out to see the bold, transformative, and lasting change you want to create in your life. In this podcast episode, we learn how important it is to recognize how far you've already come on your success journey, why it's important to not become stagnant, how to keep building on your success, and how to reassess your goals with some hands-on coaching exercises. Emilia has provided some downloadable documents for the coaching exercises, so look out for them in the show notes as they'll help you on your transformation journey. All client stories mentioned in this podcast have either been approved for use or been altered to not be identifiable. Hello and welcome, Emilia.
Hello. How's it going?
Really well, thank you. We both have a massive smile on our faces.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, me too. Can't wait to hear more. Before we dive into the topic, maybe you can let us know a bit about yourself and why you're so excited and passionate about this.
Okay, well, I've been a kinesiologist for about 14 years, and recently, in the last 2 years, I started getting into life coaching, and now I just really see how the two go so well together. So I'm excited to share what I've been experiencing myself.
Great. Mm-hmm. Well, tell me more then.
I've always been really drawn to self-care and personal development. Growing up, I only looked at physical activity and eating habits as the major component, and I really didn't think about the power of my mental state. So I found myself in a bit of a pattern. For example, I wanted to achieve a certain look, and then when it came to my physical appearance, I would be motivated and disciplined for a certain amount of time, and then it would dissipate. A situation, a circumstance, or a different perspective would come up, and I would resort to old types of habits. And I realized that the missing ingredient I had was my mindset. I now believe that this is a major component to understanding why you make the choices you do, what keeps you sticking on your path, and why it's important to celebrate those mini milestones you make and stay committed. So when you know what you do want, you can clearly define your values and understand what the scale of importance is for you. And what are you willing to continuously say yes and no to? So when is a specific thought or pattern that's no longer serving you, what can you take from it and what will you work on going forward? My goal is to inspire others to see themselves for who they really are. I want people to really step into their power, to own their wants and acknowledge how far they've come and continue making those choices that they know are going to help them keep conquering and feel successful. So I believe in big picture thinking and dreaming are essential components to this as well. And understanding this helps you create from there to continuously carve out what is important to you.
Mm-hmm. Great. So successful people wanting to keep growing their success and keep going that way.
Yes.
Right? Okay. I hear owning it, celebrating it, the basis of this, and to keep growing is the mindset in all of this, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So it's basically about being aware of what, you've already achieved and keep growing through very specific actions.
Yes. Yeah. And really understanding why you're doing what you're doing. Like, what is motivating you instead of just like doing the same thing over and over, but actually having like a real purpose behind it.
What got you here is not going to get you over there.
Yeah.
You need to kind of reflect on
exactly
kind of where you've come. Yeah.
And yes.
And have maybe your why has changed over time as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. What are some of the ways that you can take stock of where you currently are and what we've achieved?
again, as we were talking about how important it is to be reflective, one way to take stock is using this coaching tool called the Wheel of Life. It's an excellent way to assess where you currently are. So, for example, in the wheel, there are 8 different categories of what make up a fulfilled life. And so, for example, there's health, friends and family, significant other, personal growth, fun and leisure, home environment, career, and money. So it's really good to just assess and say, okay, well, where am I on the scale of 0 to 10 of how satisfied I am? And so you can start to focus on where you want to put your attention into the aspects of your life to improve the quality and feel more fulfilled.
And on that note, I know you do have a Wheel of Life available, and that we'll put that in the show notes of the podcast and up on the website as well, so people can download that version and play along with it.
Awesome.
Right?
Yes.
Okay,
thank
cool.
you.
And there was another aspect to that?
That would be my top way of taking stock of where you currently are. And then from there, once you've kind of figured out, oh, well, maybe this is 5 out of 10. And I used to always think it was a 9 out of 10. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, what's going to take to get to a 10? So this is where you get to start to unpack that and really see yourself come more alive in the choices you decide.
I remember the first time I've done a Wheel of Life, and I was actually shocked to see on paper what that was like just seeing it black and white, because I had exactly that experience that you just said.
Yeah.
And it was actually a bit profound. I was like, wow, really? Okay.
Really? And then what did you do when you noticed that?
I needed a moment. And then I set some goals around it. And it was impactful. And I know it's what it's like in that moment, right? A month later from that, it might look a bit different, depending on, the different areas and what has happened since then, or what you've come to achieve. But I've done it a few times now, but the first time I was like, wow, it was eye-opening.
Yeah.
It looks very simple, but
it's not. And that's why I love that tool so much. And I think it's such a great thing to use and just see where you're at.
Okay. So we've established that, where we're at. I guess then it's figuring out the why that you referred to earlier that we talked about, right? So why do you keep going and growing and, not just resting? I mean, there's something to be said about just the celebration that you mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah.
But then stagnation isn't really an option for a lot of people. That could mean going back.
No, yeah. I think, rest is important. Like, maybe that's what vacation is for, mini vacations. But when you're on a certain path, I really think it's important to kind of understand, like, well, what is your why? And for me, I think we're all put here for a reason. Like, we all want to be our greatest potential. And to know that it takes a lot of work and courage and patience, and it's a step-by-step process. So it's exciting to know that. And, and I think we have this amazing gift to share with others. So why not see where you're at and let's keep going?
Exactly. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Do stuff.
Exactly. Actions.
Yeah. Meaningful ones.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about figuring out where to then go from here.
Okay.
We've had success. We've celebrated. Maybe took a bit of a rest, but not wanting to rest on the laurels too long. So how do we figure out where to go from here?
Okay. Well, this is my second favorite part after the wheel. I like this little 3-step process that I get clients to do. And so today I'm going to use the whole example of transforming your body. So, you want to feel good once and for all. You want to feel confident. So the first step is deciding what you want. So say, for example, on your wheel, it was a 5 out of 10, the health component. Take out a piece of paper and I want you to write on the paper, like, I want, and then add a blank and add what it is you want. And is it, to run a marathon pain-free? Do you really want to lose those last 10, 15 pounds and keep it off? Like, what is it that you want to have? What comes to your mind when you think of body transformation? So that would be step number 1. And then step number 2 is now figuring out the top reasons that holds you back. So, for example, maybe some common issues are, I can't wake up before I go to work and work out. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's too hard. There's too many things. Like, or I'm too tired to make meals when I get home from work, so we just eat out. What are those things that are your excuses, essentially? And to politely. So in the second step, I want you to write down 10 things that hold you back. And I actually want you to write the word I can't first. And then now I want you to cross off the word can't and add the word won't. Look at that and tell yourself, oh, I won't wake up before I go to work out. It's a totally different perspective. And now this is putting the power back into your hands and giving you the choice. So that's why I find this step super powerful.
It sounds a bit like, uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I say that with a laugh, but it's true. Step 3 is all about brainstorming. You get to now exercise the fact, well, okay, so I can do these things. So what am I going to do? So now I want you to double it. I want you to add 20 possibilities of what you can do. And it doesn't matter if you end up not doing 5 of those, but just like literally go. Let your mind go wild and pick 20 things. And now I think it's so powerful because it gets you to see, what do you value? What makes you feel fulfilled when it comes to achieving your goals, as well as what's stopping you from living this way.
And it can be a super fun activity as well, right?
Yeah.
Of like, if you go for body transformation, sure, there can be some realistic things on there to, you know, keep going, but it doesn't always have to be super serious. You can have a lot of, you know, creative fun of what it means for you to keep moving and doing things, or eating healthily. That, like, it's a whole...
Yeah, like maybe it's like get a Fitbit with another friend and you guys compare how many steps you take a day. It could be anything.
Yeah. Or park at the furthest side of the car park every day.
Every day.
You know, 10 steps extra every day.
Take your umbrella and some rain boots as it gets colder or rainier. Just do it.
We might have a worksheet for that too, right?
Yes.
So we'll also pop this up on the website and in the podcast notes. And people can download it maybe even before they start listening in, which would be great, or afterwards. Either way works. Then they can let you know on social media as well what the outcome was.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be great? Hearing back.
That would be so much fun.
Having a two-way podcast.
I love
it's
chatting.
Like, yes, exactly. So we'll pop this all up and then see how that goes, right?
Okay, great.
My next question would be, what is one way you have for your clients to bridge the gap between where they are, say, right now and where they want to go?
The fastest way to bridge the gap of where you are and where you want to go, I think there's 2 things, actually.
Okay.
So when you change the way you speak about the things that are stopping you from a place that you are the one in charge of how you react to those choices, for example, again, if I go back to transforming your body, this is empowering. And that's that whole step number 2. So it gives you the steering wheel and it gets you to say yes or no to whatever is in front of you that will either help or hinder your results. And the second thing I believe is powerful is the power of gratitude. The more we can sit back, reflect on what we've done thus far to get us a fulfilled life, or even, for example, I'm grateful that I have this ability to change my mind or my perspective. The more we continue to appreciate everything that has helped us along our journey, I truly believe it will help us feel happier. And I think it's a snowball effect and it continues to grow. But I do believe it needs to be practiced and done intentionally in order to reap the benefits.
You know, you can write books about gratitude and the positive effects that it has, right? When you practice it regularly, there's so much value in that. And again, it's a mindset thing. It comes from that of having rather than being owed or like a scarcity mindset, right? And
something you actually said to me, which sticks in my mind all the time, is I get to.
Oh, yeah.
So I literally use that whenever I'm like, oh, no, I have to do this. I'm like, no, I get to. I'm like, yeah thanks, Nadine.
Yay, fist bump. High five. Exactly. Cool.
And then it makes me feel automatically grateful when I think in that perspective.
Yeah, you can say no to this.
Yeah.
But do you actually want to?
No.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you recommend that everyone keeps like doing those steps that you just talked us through?
I do. Whenever you're feeling like you're wanting something to continue to grow, I think it's a great way to every 6 to 8 weeks, maybe just reflect back, or even every 4 to 8 weeks, however often you're working on those things. It's just really important to see, are you progressing? Because it is fun to see that. It inspires you. Positive change is great.
Yeah.
It's motivating.
And you're working against for people who, I just had this thought about people who are really competitive. Maybe like this would work really well because you're benchmarking against yourself, right?
Totally. It's healthy competition.
Yeah. Exactly. But even for, if there was a blip in there somewhere or so, it's like, okay, at least it didn't get worse. Yeah,
but you get to assess why that blip happened, and you're like, oh, that's a pattern, or oh, this unforeseen circumstance. Well, how can I modify it to fit what I want?
Yeah, you learned something from it, right? Or I didn't get as far as I wanted to. Or I did get further than I wanted to. It's like, who knows? It doesn't always have to be like negative. That you could be totally surprising yourself.
Yes.
And so, there's opportunities out there.
Positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
All for it.
Okay, cool. What's the payoff? I mean, apart from the obvious, you're getting more successful, but it's still work.
Yeah. What's the payoff? I think...
Or maybe for some people it's not work. It's just the way of life. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's like maybe my negative mindset coming through there. It's like, why does it have to be work? It could be, your everyday fulfilling life.
Well, yeah, I think we all excel in different areas in our lives. And it's great opportunity to look at, well, what is an area in my life I want to feel really proud about for myself? So you get to kind of measure it against your own standards and values, and then it's empowering, and I think it bleeds into all other areas of your life, so it actually becomes really fun, in my opinion.
Yeah, fun. Bring on the fun.
I think it's fun.
Okay, there's a few more questions to that kind of round off this whole the podcast for today, but I actually remember you sharing 2 quotes that when you were preparing for this podcast, you were like, oh, this comes to mind right away. And I'd love to bring it in. Do you have those handy, those 2 quotes?
I do. The first one is this quote. His name is Chuck Swindoll. So life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. And I think it's a great reminder for me when I feel stuck that I am the only one in charge of how I respond to what's going on. So giving myself the power, again, it always makes me feel more alive. And then the second quote is from Sheryl Sandberg, and she quotes women helping one another, but I think it's like, to me, it means for everyone. But she says, the more women help one another, the more we help ourselves. Acting like a coalition truly does produce results. And I think, again, this goes back to me saying about, I think we're all here for a reason, and we're here to share with each other. So I think it just reminds me of helping each other collectively, and back to the fact that we're all on this earth on a mission to help others. So
yeah, it relates back to what I'm passionate about. It's about like community and being in it together. When I heard you quoting Sheryl Sandberg, I was like, oh, I love her. There's so much that I really, really like how she brings that, certain things across. And so I was like happy to quote it, Sheryl.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I was really thinking a lot about, what really resonates. So I'm glad that. Yeah. Cool.
And those Same 2 quotes beautifully round off this part about how to keep being successful and exceeding, right?
Yeah.
So that was thank you for sharing those 2 quotes.
There's something I wanted to add, actually. You just made me think about.
Sure.
I do think also part of being successful is sharing with others and community. It makes you feel really good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And others too. At
Yeah.
least there's always reason to celebrate something or someone.
Yeah. And then
bring it in.
Exactly.
And it might be inspiring for someone else, right? You never know what type of, reactions or inspirations your actions might have on others. It's like, well, if this person can do it, like, why can't I? Or can we do it together?
Yeah.
It might be a bit easier if we do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. It's like, why keep all that to yourself? Like, spread it out in the world.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Let's do that.
I'm all for that.
Great. Tell us a bit about your particular coaching style.
So I guess because I have a strong personal training background and I've seen a lot of what works with clients is I think it's being approachable, positive, and firm and holding people accountable. It really goes a long way. So I would say I've definitely transferred that into my coaching style, and I have 100% faith in people. They all know the answers to what they want, and I believe in their abilities 100%. So, but again, back to the accountable part, if you don't hold someone accountable, it can be easy to get off the hook because it's just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to know like, oh, no, I have a reason to do this, and remind yourself. And that's where I think coaching with me is helpful in that way.
There's a way where, yes, as a coach, you'll hold them accountable, you cheer them on, and you're there, they report, and it's like, yeah, this is what I've done, and, have a look at all of these things. But through coaching, you will also remind them about their why and reconnect back with them, because hopefully that motivation is from like within. Yeah.
And actually, as you were speaking, it kind of goes back to earlier in our chat. If what's the payoff to keep, or what do you gain from all this? And I think, say if someone, they have an actionable item and then they come back and they're like, oh, I didn't do it. Well, it's a great opportunity for us to explore, well, why? And then they actually uncover, oh, actually it's maybe related to these things. And then it changes everything. So instead of beating ourselves up like, oh, I didn't do it, it's just a really good way to look at things.
Again, learn, reassess, be more self-aware of certain things. And what actually comes back is that pattern that we touched on earlier, right? It's like, where else does this show up? And oh, it's not this, it's this again. Okay, so how do we go from there? So there's always an aha moment. Yes,
I always think of like peeling the layers of an onion. You just keep finding new things.
Okay, great. I think the only thing left for this episode is to look at the questions in the bag, or, three of them.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Oh, dear. Yes. There's this goodie bag here with a few pieces of paper. Each one of them has a question on it, and you get to.
Okay. I think I picked three all at once.
Oh, wow.
I did it fast.
Do you want to keep those without looking at them?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So read them out one by one and go for it.
Okay. What's on your mind?
Oh. That's the first question.
Yeah. Do I answer it right now?
Yeah.
Fun? I'm having a lot of fun right now. That's what's on my mind.
Great.
Okay. Describe yourself in 3 words. Whew. Energetic. Fun.
Yeah.
I'm thinking on the spot. And easygoing.
Yeah. Cool. Can totally see that.
Tea, coffee, or hot chocolate? Ooh. Depends on my mood. It's most likely going to be a coffee, though. Never a hot chocolate.
Okay.
It would be between tea or coffee for sure.
What type of coffee person are you?
I am an Americano person with almond milk.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
It sounds a bit like easygoing, straightforward.
Yes.
But then a bit of something fun in it.
Oh, good. I like
that. That goes back to those 3 words.
Yes. And then tea, it's always between peppermint, ginger, or Bengal spice.
Bengal spice, what's that?
It's kind of like a cinnamon, caffeine-free. It's really good.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
Well, I'll have to look it up now. Thank you so much. And with those beverage recommendations, we're going to leave it here. Thank you so much for coming by and having so much fun about.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast.
Perfect. I feel exactly the same. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Cool. Thank you.
Emilia's wish for you is to see how powerful you already are and what bold transformation you can achieve. She helps you uncover what is holding you back and will support you to live an even happier, healthier, more successful life. If you'd like to take the first step towards your personal transformation, please book a free initial coaching session. Simply go to coachmevancouver.com/book. That's coachmevancouver.com/book. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious.